Question 1. This figure's Etruscan counterparts often depict with Vanth swinging hammers at Laris Planthus' head in a sarcophagus relief. Deadly vapors spill from this figure's sacred cave of Aornum. Seneca relates how Hercules overpowered this figure with his own pole. In The Frogs, the slave Xanthias is forced to run around a lake by this figure, who discusses frog swan songs with Dionysus. During his catabasis, Aeneas pacified this child of Erebus and Nyx with a golden bell. An obol placed in his mouth rather than over his eyes is given to the psychopomp of the Archerion, who forces the unburied to wait 100 years before receiving transport. For 10 points, name this ferryman of the Styx who guides souls to Hades. The answer is Charon. Also accepts Charon, Charos, Charon, Charu. Will not accept Chiron. Question 2. The value of violet is added to this theory in the Patti-Salam model. This theory cannot include the decay products of any R-parity conserving theory LSP, which is a WIMP in the minimal supersymmetric version of this theory. Unobserved heavy neutrinos are implied by extending this theory with the type 1 seesaw are implied by mechanism. This theory's gauge interactions are explained by grand unified theories. These theories' failure to explain gravitation could be resolved by the discovery of graviton. Columns represent 3 generations in this theory, and representation as a 4x4 grid next to the Higgs boson. 3 of the fundamental forces are explained by, for 10 points, which theory underlying particle physics. Answer is the Standard Model. Prompt would be on grand unified theories or until grand unified theories. It's read by on asking what is that theory based. For this one, a specific term is required. Question 3. One of the people died while leading an ill-fated expedition whose few survivors include the enslaved man Esteviano. One of these people, known as the Madman, styled himself the Wrath of God, Prince of Freedom. Several of these people funded monuments in the hometowns across Extremandura. One of these people wrote a true history that recounts how another of them wept during a 1520 event, which translates to the Sad Night. A woman who translated for one of these people was known as La Minche. After winning the Battle of Camarasa, one of these people ordered Atahualpa's execution. 10 points give the Spanish Portuguese term for soldier explorers like Hernan Cortez, who conquered much of the Americas. Answer: conquistadors or conquistadores, prompt on the Spanish or Portuguese people or Spaniards until read. Question 4. Richard Katz believed that this psychologist failed to state time studying the giving ceremony of the Blackfoot. This psychologist imagined a culturally healthy utopia called Usikia in a theory Z, outlining the ideal organization and companies. A cognitive bias of repeating using the same tool for different problems is called the psychologist's hammer. A group of people studied by the psychologist of having values that determine their meta-motivations may have peak experiences. The psychologist's paper, A Theory of Human Motivation, developed a model often visualized as a pyramid with self-actualization at its top. For 10 points, name the psychologist who formulated a namesake hierarchy of needs. Answer is Abraham Maslow. Also will accept Maslow's hierarchy of needs or Maslow's hammer. Next question. In a story, a man proposes hunting these animals after musing on a girl's name that mixes memory and desire. A story titled for these animals is by describing a woman reading an article titled Sex is Fun or Hell while waiting for men to finish using hotel phones. The protagonist of a story recounts the tragic life of these animals who gorge themselves in their feeding holes until they become too large to escape. In a story titled for these animals, a young girl named Sybil Carpenter converses on the beach and has her feet kissed by a Seymour Glass, who later commits suicide. For 10 points, Jane Salinger wrote a story about a perfect day for what? Fictional fruit-eating animals. The answer is banana fish. Also will accept a perfect day for banana fish, except banana fishes. Prompt on fish. The Jomini N-Quench test measures how much this property can be increased. This property is locally increased by participating nitrates at a metal surface. The strain-induced increase in this property is balanced by a loss of cross-sectional area when a material first necks. A Martistenic transportation boosts this property by hundreds of Brinell. Work increases this property by rearranging metals dislocations. Annealing disc decreases this property and increases ductility. Alloying iron to steel doubles this property as estimated by the yield stress and indentation test. Scratch tests compare this property to minerals like quartz and talc. 10 points in this property measured on the Mohs scale. Answer is hardness. Also hardability, hard, yield stress, or tensile strength. In 2021, this city gave Jane Gilbert the first in the nation title of Chief Heat Officer. Praises as Get Down from the Car exemplify newly emerging English dialect name for this city. Each October, this city's American Cities Art Week is anchored by Art Basel. Officials in this city rejected a 20-foot high seawall that would run past its Brick Hill financial district and was proposed after Hurricane Irma. A billboard asking Silicon Valley tech bros to, quote, DM me was directed by this city's Republican mayor, Francis Suarez. In 2021, 98 people were killed when a condo collapsed in this city's suburb of Surfside. For 10 points, name this city that's located in a county partly named for Francis L. Dade in South Florida. Answer is Miami. For this next one, the description is acceptable. Like the Acolyte, this action's performer was dubbed a ministry instead of a minor order by the opposite letter Minerea Quandeum after Vatican II. Years A and B and C refer to Matthew, Mark, Luke during this action's 3-year cycle. The responsorial song is sung between 2 instances of this action. During the Catholic liturgy of the word, a congregant performs this action after bowing before the altar and approaching the ambo, a type of elevated pulpit. An evangeliary is used for this action. It is not the end of the Mass, but the Catholics reply, "Thanks be to God," after 2 instances of this action, 3 which precede the homily. For 10 points, name this action performed during Mass by lectors and a priest using the Book of Gospels. Answer is reading the Bible aloud. We also accept reading biblical scripture, reading passages from the Old or New Testament, or Gospels, or the Epistles, or any of the books, really. Except reading passages from, pretty much lectionary reading of some sort. Next question. This modern-day country contains a fractally designed wall that may be world's largest man-made earthwork structure. In this country, an archaeologist observed a farmer using a knock terracotta head as a scarecrow. The influence of the Oni-Ole-Ofi in this country was eclipsed by the Oyo Empire. In this country, the city-states of Zazu and Gabir were conquered by Usman Damfudio during the 19th century Fujani jihads. This country's western neighbor shares its name with a set of bronze that Henry Rowson pillaged from a kingdom in this country. Obas ruled this country's south, while Hanzua kings controlled its north. For 10 points, name this modern-day home to Igbo and the Yoruba people. The answer is Nigeria. Final question for the half. This character orders a man to eclipse himself. By the time he wrote, he claps 3 times. The real-life inspiration for this character wrote about the meaning of a race with a musical language on the moon in his novel The Other World. That man's supposed death from a falling beam was fictionalized as this character's death after visiting a convent. During a duel, this character delivers a ballad that repeats, "Thrust home." This title character of an 1897 play often mentions his panache. This man offers to write a love letter for the poet Christian, but falls for the addressee of that letter, Roxanne. For 10 points, in the Edmond Rostand play chronicles what French author and swordplay with a large nose? The answer is Cyrano de Bergerac. Or we will also take just Bergerac. Bergerac. That is a mouthful. All right, and that's all for today.